Morning! I'm going to show you how to make our family's favorite homemade bread. All you need is water, salt, yeast, and flour. This recipe comes from the new artisan bread in 5 minutes a day. I got the recipe off a flour container actually, and then I found their book at the library. It has all kinds of recipes, but this is the basic one that's right on the flour sack. You need 4.5 cups of warm water, and then you put it in a big old mixing bowl. Then you need 1 tablespoon of salt, and just sprinkle that into the water. And you'll need 1.5 tablespoons of yeast. My family likes to order the 1 pound bulk block of yeast from Amazon, and then we store it in the freezer in a mason jar. So 1.5 tablespoons of yeast. You can sprinkle that on top of the water too. Since we do this all the time, I use a kitchen scale and measure it in pounds. I'm going to calculate it in cups for you in a minute after we do the pounds. So I like to put in about 1.5 pounds of whole wheat flour, and then another 1.5 pounds of white flour. The important thing is you need 3 pounds of flour. So I did the math, and that works out to about 11 cups if you're using a standard measuring cup. So right now is just a big bunch of flour on top of my water, and you just get a big spoon and stir it up. I'm going to do this part on the table. I like to stir it on our dining room table because I'm short and the counters are a little high. So when it's all stirred, it's about like this, and you'll need to let it sit for 2 hours, but in the summertime it'll probably rise enough after an hour and a half. It should fill the bowl all the way to the top, and sometimes mine spills over. I just put it back in. And it needs to be covered. Cling wrap will work. We have a nice floppy plastic lid that I put on top. A plate would be okay. Alright, okay. So after it's risen, you can store it in your refrigerator until you want to use it. When you're ready to use it, I pull it out and I pull off half of what I've mixed up, which is about this much, and you can fold it over and fold it and form it into a nice bread loaf. You let it sit on a cutting board for half an hour to warm back up again since it's been in the refrigerator. And after half an hour, you can move it onto a cast iron pan. We use this one for bread all the time. And you'll want to put a little bit of flour. Oh, where did I put my flour? There it is. You'll want to put a little bit of flour in the bottom to keep it from sticking. And then you can put your bread in, and it cooks at 450 degrees. If you're using half of the batch like I did, it'll take 40 minutes. If you have a smaller family, you don't have to tear off that much. You can tear off a quarter loaf, and then it would probably only take 30 minutes to cook. And there you have it. When you're done, you get a loaf like this. This is what's left after we ate it for breakfast or something. And this dough also works really great as a pizza dough. We flatten it out, and then you can spread pizza sauce and cheese on top. It's also really good if you flatten it out and put butter and cinnamon and sugar on for breakfast. It works for all kinds of stuff. Hamburger buns. Makes good hamburger buns. Just tear off small pieces and don't cook them as long. Alright, thank you. Have fun.